Hello everyone, I'm Saurabheshwar Sen from Catalyst Learning Services, welcoming all of you to the session today. Catalyst was established in 2011 with a focus to train students and working professionals for careers in the social development sector. Since our inception, we have focused in training, mentoring, and guiding students from classes 11th, 12th, undergraduate studies, postgraduate studies, to be mentored for the entrances and interviews of bachelor's and master's programs of social science courses offered by the institutions in India and abroad. Many of our students over the years have graduated with specializations in social sciences and its different branches and have started working in different capacities, ranging from being a researcher to a social entrepreneur, working as a policy analyst to a development professional, with government think tanks, with policy think tanks, with multilaterals, with the civil society, with corporates in corporate social responsibility, and in many newer requirements of the market. We are very excited and happy to present the speaker for the evening today for all of you, Shreya from the Catalyst class of 2017, will be interacting with all of you with her experience and perspectives with natural resource management and sustainable development. Shreya graduated with a master's in natural resources and governance from Tata Institute of Social Sciences. And during her master's, she attended a summer school on global environmental issues at the Birmingham University. Shreya pursued her bachelor's in geography from Loreto College Kolkata. Shreya's fieldwork experience is focused on both urban as well as rural areas on issues of resource governance and policy. Her interest lies with working in the field of environmental jurisprudence, sustainable development, climate change, disaster management, sustainable agriculture, and water resource management. On that note, I am very happy to pass on the session to Shreya for all of you. I would also request all the participants in the session to please be free to interact with Shreya as much as possible. Share your queries with her, ask her questions, try to understand what her field focuses upon. I understand that a lot of you might be facing issues with your microphone or your video. We would request you definitely then to use the chat box to float your queries so that I can help Shreya with your questions to be answered. Also, I would request everyone, if possible, to keep your videos on so that we can have a little more humane real-time interaction as Shreya presents her perspectives to all of us. Shreya, thank you so much for taking out your time and joining the session today. Over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. I have never heard such a beautiful introduction of myself earlier. It's really very thrilling to be here with so many people. I'm already seeing 18 participants, and I'm really thrilled to be a part of this and to share my experience in a platform like this. To begin with, my association with Catalyst started in 2017 when I had, around 2018. No, I think 2016, right? 2016, 17. So earlier, I was not aware of this. I did not know where to do my master's. I was totally clueless. Like after graduation, after geography, what do I want to do? So I had graduated from geography from Loreto College, Kolkata University. So I had come across Catalyst from our college campaign only, and then my association with Catalyst started. And then I had taken a few classes there, and I had just randomly sat for the exam and test. I had no idea that I would be clearing it. I was just sitting for it just for the sake of sitting for it. And I really wanted to like do something in like after geography, I wanted to do something in natural resources and governance, like in something related to environment, sustainability, climate change. So I just randomly had put my name for natural resources and governance in this Hyderabad off campus. And I like my biggest shock in life came when I had cleared the exam and test. And that was like a very life changing moment for me. So back then I did not believe in myself. I did not believe that I would clear this. And one day, I mean, I would have never thought that back 2, 3 years back that I would be talking to so many students in such a platform here. So it's really a very interesting opportunity to like look back in past and to see where I have come. And I would really love to share my experience with everyone present here. So I hope everyone can hear me and see my screen. So you
Participants,
can see, right?
yeah, I can see. If other participants also can use your mic, and maybe let Shreya know whether she's audible and visible to you.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Yes, she's visible.
Yeah, so I would like to take you through the presentation in this way. That is, first I'll cover my career journey. That is my career timeline, starting from my passing out from school to my graduation days in Loreto, to how I got into TIS and my TIS days, and then my professional journey. Like I am currently working in an organization as a project manager, which is based in Rural Rajasthan. Then I would like to take you through the evolving demands of the market. Like if you are planning to join the sector, the environment and development sector, then what are the what are the very important points you should keep in mind before you proceed forward? And also before that, why you should join the sector and why you shouldn't. I will talk about those as well. And also in future, especially after this in the post COVID scenario, what are the high investment sectors, and if there is any future at all in this sector. And if you are like, a lot of my juniors have been asking me around that if there is any future after doing NRG from TASTE, or if after doing a course on environment and development, if there is any future in the post-COVID scenario, since a lot of field work has stopped, a lot of field movement, a lot of interstate, inter-district movement has stopped. So I would like to cover that aspect as well. And then I would like to talk about the potential skills for the sector, the state of art industry skills that you need to excel in the sector, to land with a good job, and also to not just have a job, but also to continue working in a very professional way in that job. And also, then I'll talk about, lastly, about the future prospects. That is, if you are aspiring to continue in this sector and see yourself in the long run, then what are the future prospects that you have, the salary structures, and which roles you can see yourself working in, the designations, and so on. Yeah, so my journey started with Mahadevi Birla World Academy. It's a CBSE school. I passed out from MBWA in 2014 with humanities and mathematics. So back then I had a completely different interest in life. I wanted to pursue economics. Even my parents wanted me to do science, and I had a lot of pressure from my family, honestly, to just after like any other Bengali family, they just pressurize you to take any of these lucrative career options like do engineering or science. Even I had that. I would be very honest on that. And 2017, I went on to do my so then 2014, when I passed out from MBWA, I had actually applied for a lot of colleges in Calcutta, and then suddenly out of nowhere, I just decided, why not do geography? I mean, that was a very interesting subject for me, and I wanted to explore that. Although it was not one of my favorite subjects, but still. So yeah, I went on to do geography from Loreto College. I graduated with a BSc Geography in 2017, and then like I said, I again, out of nowhere, I had just sat for the test exam and I cleared this, and I just got into this, not knowing what lies ahead in future. So after I joined this, everything changed in my life, because that was a moment I literally came out of my books and I started working with communities. I started working in the field of development. So I joined this in 2017 in Natural Resources and Governance. 2018, again out of the blue, I just got an opportunity to go for a summer school in Birmingham, which is in United Kingdom. So 2018, I had applied for that. I cleared that exam, and then I was sent to Birmingham by TIS through a TIS Bombay scholarship. So I went to Birmingham. It was a 1-month summer exchange program, and it was really interesting. I mean, I can share about that later, but I'll just move forward in this slide. 2019, I graduated from TIS with a MA in Natural Resources and Governance. And from TIS only, I got placed in Foundation for Ecological Security. It's a grassroots organization which is based in Gujarat, but I'm currently working in Rajasthan, in Udaipur, which again is a very thrilling experience, because Udaipur is a tourist place and I kind of get to see a lot of tourists here and there, but then there are pros and cons of it, which I'll talk about later. So my TIS journey. So first, let's talk about the course content and the lessons learned in TIS. So like in the NRG course, basically it's a governance-centric course, by that it means that it's very policy-oriented. So that is why they give you an MA degree there in TIS. So they do not teach you about the science behind like they do through theories. They do teach you about the science behind environment, the resource degradation problems and everything, but the focus of this course is mostly and majorly on how to deal with these problems with the help of the local communities, who are actually the keepers of these resources. So there is another course which is very similar to this in TIS only, which is the MSc in Natural Resources and Governance and Sustainable Livelihoods. It's in the Tuljapur campus. So that is again a very skill-oriented course again. So that's why they're giving an MSc degree. So if you're coming with a BSc degree, they'll give an MSc degree. So I wanted to learn more about the underlying theories of why the resource degradation problems exist, and why it is a problem in the first place. So that's why I chose the MA course in Hyderabad off campus. And I wouldn't say it was like my deviation from a BSc science student to an entirely arts course. That's a MA course in TIS Hyderabad was a wrong decision, because it was not. I got to learn a lot of theories, and which is currently helping me in my job life. So yeah, from the course content, you will learn about, so the first semester covers all the foundation courses like understanding sociology, understanding economics, understanding political science, all that. And then slowly in the second and third semesters, you will learn about the other concepts of climate change, sustainable development, then natural resource-based livelihoods, which is agriculture-based livelihoods, forest-based livelihoods, fishing-based livelihoods, and so on and so forth. And also at the end, or like in the fourth semester, they teach you about the biodiversity monitoring tools and technologies like GIS. So those who are present here who already have a background in geography, you must be knowing how important GIS is in the current scenarios in resource governance and development, because I mean not just GIS but any tool, software as such, because everything is so data driven now that without data you can't talk about research. So the end semester it's completely focused on research methodologies and tools and technologies of data collection, data analysis. And then in the last semester, you also have to do a dissertation, MA dissertation, and most of the marks is based on the dissertation for the last semester. So the field work, so for NRJ course in Hyderabad, there are basically 2 field works that I had to go through. So I had attended both my fields in Odisha in 2 remote tribal villages. That again was another very life-changing experience for me. So being a completely urban dweller, I was sent to a very remote tribal village for almost a month, and I had to stay in that village. And like the village was totally disconnected in terms of transport facility, in terms of network, and in terms of access to sanitation facilities. By that I mean there were no toilets. So I had to stay there for like a month and not have toilets around me. So that's when I realized what are the real developmental problems in rural India. So that is something I really like about TIS and my association with the environment and development sector. That is learning by doing things on your own. I mean, when you experience these problems all by yourself, that is when you understand where is the underlying problem, and that is when you understand that why you should, think about these problems. So before that, I used to just read these things in my books, in my geography books, or in any other social science books, but then I never experienced them. So when I got to experience them in real time, that was the time when that hit me hard, because I was experiencing them myself, and I tried to find a solution for this. Like, I was so infuriated when I went there, and I did not get toilet for the first 1 week. I realized that how will I sustain here, and how are these communities even sustaining for years when they do not have a toilet? So those are the things that really, caught me up into that cycle of thinking, critical thinking, and like that was quite connected to my dissertation as well. So from there, I got really great ideas for my dissertation and for my internship as well. And then, so in the third semester, there is a compulsory internship in TIS that everyone has to go through. So for my internship, I had interned with the Department of Environment, Government of West Bengal, in the State Action Plan on Climate Change on a project called Climate Adaptation Strategies for Agricultural Communities in Nadia district. So it was again a research project, and I was working as a research intern with several other classmates of mine from TIS. And then for my MA dissertation, I really wanted to study the problem of water scarcity, because that was something I really faced for my field work in rural, when I went for my field work in rural Odisha. That was a time when I realized that water is such a scarce and contented resource, and there is not much talking about it. So I went on to do my master's in Hyderabad itself, because I wanted to study the water scarcity patterns, drinking water scarcity patterns in the slum areas and their impact on the urban poor. So Hyderabad was one of the first options that came to my mind, because most of the South Indian cities are going through this very crucial water crisis, starting with Chennai, then Bangalore, and then Hyderabad. So I thought, why not? Just that again, Hyderabad was a very unknown place for me. I did not know whom to. How to structure my interviews, how to collect my data, how to how to carry forward my research. But then again, I had a lot of backing from my faculty in this, from the people of Hyderabad, in the slum especially. So when I said I wanted to work with them, they never told me that, you can't work here. They were always so happy that someone is coming and working for their slum development. So that was a very interesting experience. So that's a 6 months dissertation that you have to do. It's a compulsory dissertation, and most of the course marks goes into it. And I had the fortune of presenting that dissertation in the Water Future Conference 2019, which was held at the IISc Bangalore, Indian Institute of Science Bangalore. And it was held by a lot of other partners, arrangement partners also, and a lot of sponsors from international agencies. Like there were people from UN Water, there were people from Budapest, there were people from Paris who were actually involved in drafting the Paris Agreement, and a lot of other dignitaries. And in front of them, I got the opportunity to present my dissertation, which was very insignificant in front of so many top-notch dignitaries. I'm presenting just a 50 household sample survey. So, but still that opportunity at least opened avenues for me and showed me a future, where I can see myself in future. So that was the time when I decided that I wanted to pursue research. So like I understood that, research is my thing and I should really go forward with it. So yeah. So after that came my professional journey. I got placed in 2019. Yeah, May 2019, I got placed as a project manager with an organization called Foundation for Ecological Security. I'm currently based in Udaipur. Because of COVID, I am in Calcutta right now. But I was stuck in Udaipur for 5 months, and it was again a very difficult experience. But yeah, so not going into that. I have been there in FES for 1.4 years, 1 year, 4 months. And I joined Foundation for Ecological Security as a assistant project manager in research and policy advocacy team. And since then, I have been working there. But like for the last 4 months, I got promoted as a project manager. So the kind of projects that I have been involved in as a part of my professional journey were that I did a lot of monitoring, evaluation, and impact assessment studies. So that again was a very big term for me when I had joined. So I did not know what these terminologies meant. I mean, I had, again, like, there was a huge difference between my academic career and my professional career, and I think everybody has to go through it one day or the other. That disintegration from a student to a professional, to a development professional, is very difficult. I mean, it's difficult, it's thrilling, it's exciting, and it's a lot of new things to learn at the same time. So I got that opportunity to learn only because of FES. Like, there, for the first 3-4 months, I was an incumbent, so I was just learning things from looking at others, how are things being done in the field, in real life situation. So yeah, so initially 5-6 months, I was just involved in in creating interview schedules, questionnaires, data collection, data analysis, in doing all those desk jobs. But then for the last 6-7 months, I have been fortunate for getting leadership roles in most of the projects there. So yeah, I have led a monitoring evaluation project in Rajasthan, which was funded by an organization called SPIA, which is a standing panel on impact assessment. And then there are co-funders also, like World Agro-forestry, the International Food Policy Research Institute, and University of Colorado Boulder. So their idea is to restore, like, they have a joint project, a joint venture to restore 21 million hectares of degraded land by 2020, and 26 million hectares of degraded land by 2030, which is the UN-born challenge, if anyone is aware of. It's the challenge which our Prime Minister had taken to restore ecologically degraded lands in India. So yeah, so they are actually funding this program, this project, and I have been taking a leadership role in Rajasthan for that. So I am working for, in this project, I am doing all the social institutional surveys. I am like structuring these surveys, doing all the data analysis work, and also coordinating the outputs with all these donor agencies. Then next I took part, sorry. Yeah, so next I took part in a monitoring, annual monitoring project, which is a socio-ecological health monitoring of few forest areas in Rajasthan. So that again is a project which is funded by several donors, like Hindustan Unilever Foundation, Axis Bank Livelihoods Foundation. So there are a lot of CSR donors for this project, and also there are government donors like the government of Rajasthan, Department of Forest. And post that, I had also come up with few working papers in that project, and I have co-authored a research publication as well, which is very recent. I just had submitted that for publication in a peer-reviewed journal. And next, I have taken part in a telephonic baseline survey, which was conducted by Rapid Community Response to COVID team, which is the RCRC team. It's a network of 30 NGO coalitions in India, and they have received a funding of over 1.5 crore. And so they are pioneering like a pan-India household survey, rural household survey post-COVID, like, I mean, how post-lockdown, I mean. So how are the rural India, coping with the lockdown situations, and especially during the initial months. So I had like initial months by me, I like from March, April, May, all these months when there were a lot of migrants who were coming back from urban areas to the rural areas, and then there were a lot of job loss in the rural areas, and then there was a lot of anxiety, depression issues within the farming communities who were not being able to harvest their rabi crops, or they were not being able to properly harvest their kharif crops. So for that, I had pioneered this telephonic baseline surveys as well with the RCIC team. So I've already done 2-3 surveys. One was in May and the other was in July, and then they are having these surveys after every month to see how the rural India is coping and where exactly funds are needed to help these communities cope better and plan better for their agricultural seasons, since they are the worst hit. And apart from that, I've taken part in other studies, like there was a study on clean cooking systems using system dynamics. So that was again a research study that was funded by Boston School of Social Work and University of Iowa. So I've also taken part in data collection, monitoring, and analysis of several watershed monitoring projects in Rajasthan, and there is another very interesting project that I am hoping to be actively taking part in if situation permits and if situation settles a bit in this COVID scenario. That is a project which is funded by GIZ, BMZ, and MLU Halle. All of these are German agencies which are working in Rajasthan, funding a couple of ecological restoration projects and water governance projects in Rajasthan. Yeah, so having said all that, like whatever my engagements have been in the professional field after my academic journeys, I would like to talk now a little bit about what are the changing market demands for an environment professional and what I have felt over these 1-2 years of my professional journey. Yeah, so I feel a couple of years back, like around 25 years back, there was not very awareness among people about the environment and development sector. So there was ruthless exploitation of nature, there were corrupted laws and policies, and everything was privatized. You talk about mines or rivers, water, well water. So everything was privatized, and people had very less, awareness about why they should conserve nature in the first place. So it's just in the present situation that we are, understanding the impacts of climate change, and also this COVID situation has taught us a lot of things in terms of how important it is to have safe spaces. By safe spaces, I mean to have safe, animal spaces and safe human spaces. So when both of these interact with each other, and when and there is a mixture of these two, there is a very easy transmission of viruses and also epidemics and diseases in future. So like this, the COVID-19 virus has really taught us that if there is something very dangerous and that can really shake humanity in general, the entire human race, that is an ecological crisis. So if that is something we are already going through, if you see coronavirus as just a medical crisis, that would be entirely wrong, because it is an ecological crisis. And it has in fact originated from our very patterns of how wild meat is traded, how meat consumptions happen, how sustainable harvesting techniques are, and how pure the food that you eat is. So it has kind of taught us, it has kept us in that thinking phase that we all must understand that our society and ecology are very importantly and intricately linked. So if there is any string that is undone, and if there is anything that goes wrong, then the entire system falls. So that is what is happening right now. So there was we are not responsible for what happened in Wuhan, but the entire world is facing a crisis. So the same thing happens for climate change. So there is no particular nation who can be responsible. If there is, if anything, if any, if any country or continent is emitting more GHGs, then it is not that particular country or continent who will be facing the challenges, but the entire world. So it is very important for global concerted action. That is, a collective action on these issues. I mean, we should not say that this is our air, our water, our country, our land, but we should also look at it as a global commons. That is, everything that we are consuming, our forests, our ecosystems, our nature, our rivers, everything it's shared. It's shared by a lot of millions and billions of people who are residing on this planet. So there are a lot of schemes that have come up recently in place, like the Jal Jeevan Mission, and then leveraging funds for ecological restoration through MG and REGS, UN Bond 2020 Challenge for developmental countries, which I was talking about. So it is only recently that we are setting the stage for global action on climate change, and it's recently that we are realizing that climate change is real. Also, I was in Rajasthan when the plague, that the pest attack happened. So I really saw everything in from my own balcony. I mean, those the pests that had come from because of in Rajasthan and Gujarat, and which were damaging the crops. So that was something I realized, that it's high time that people should also start understanding that climate change is for real, and the action that we take, it is not just any country's sole responsibility or anyone's sole responsibility, but we should all focus on it as a global concerted action. So what I feel the future of environment and development sector would be is that there is a need for more data-driven and multidisciplinary response to this issue. That is, for long we have thought about climate change as an entirely scientific concept, which definitely is. It is a scientific concept, but there is a lot of social science backing it. There is a lot of reasons, and there is a lot of social ways by which we can fight it. So that is something which, being a social scientist, I am kind of trying to figure out, because being a social scientist, having a background completely in social science, it is very difficult to step into the science sector of climate change and sustainability studies and excel in that. Because in climate, when we talk about climate change and sustainability studies, there is a lot of science involved in it. There is a lot of physics involved in it. There is a lot of energy involved in it, energy studies involved in it, mathematics involved in it. So not having a background in that, it's again very difficult for a social science professional also to have a completely grasp over it. So even I feel that there is this general thinking that it's a social science, I mean, it's a scientific concept, but we should also be thinking in terms of what social scientists can do. I mean, there is a lot of communities who are actually they have their traditional ways of fighting with this issue. And that is where social science comes in. I mean, after having spent so many years in the rural India, also in urban areas, so I kind of now have started looking at all these small things which communities do to fight with such a large cause like climate change. And also for that, we need to as a social science, I feel there's a need for a lot of data on that domain, and also a lot of scientific response, and not just think of it as a science or a social science issue, but to also have a multidisciplinary response to that entire idea of fighting with global climate change. So yeah, the high investment sectors in environment and development, which I feel for future, are that a lot of, as I was saying earlier as well, that a lot of my juniors have asked me that if at all it would be a lucrative option, joining natural resources and governance or environment and development, and if I would be earning money in future. So I would honestly, I've never thought about earning money when I joined this, but I just had a passion in mind and I just continued sticking to it. So, like now, when I am currently in that phase of earning money with my experience, with my knowledge, I kind of now have identified these key potential investment areas in future where a lot of these big CSRs, big donors might invest in future, especially in this post-COVID scenario. It is going to be a very lucrative option. And like I said, that, you know, this COVID virus has taught us that things can be solved when there is a concerted action. So when the virus had happened, it was not just China who was battling with it, but all of the world was battling with it, and it's still battling. And there are a lot of agencies who have come together, uh, a lot of organizations who have come together to deal with this issue. And that concerted action, that collective action is very essential to fight with the cause. So yeah, so the first thing is ecological restoration. That is going to be a very high investment area, and a lot of CSRs are already focusing on a lot of plantation drives. They're investing crores and crores of their funds on ecological restoration activities, or organizations that work on ecological restoration. And then clean energy systems. So traditional cook stoves, which is the traditional chulhas, which are used by firewood, or the firewood chulhas, they are the highest GHG contributors in rural India in their households. So replacing them with solar and improved cook stoves would be a very, a very potential investment option for a lot of these thermal agencies, thermal power plants, and CSRs who are working in the thermal sector. Then also leveraging more funds through government schemes for eco-restoration, that is through the schemes of Mahatma Gandhi Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. I think most of you have already learned about the scheme in your history or political science or geography books, that this was one of the flagship programs of the Indian government to give rural employment. And it had started with making roads in rural India, and also making, improving their village developmental condition, but leveraging more funds for ecological restoration of their village natural resources, like planting more trees, using the MGNREG's fund to plant more trees, or to make a pond in their village. That would be a very interesting option for future investors. And then again, sustainable agriculture, organic farming, agroforestry. So this is a very, I have personally shifted my diet a lot uh, after getting a lot of news about why meat consumption is very dangerous. Being a Bengali, I know giving up meat is very difficult, but still I have kind of incorporated a lot of veganism in my diet. So yeah, sustainable agriculture, organic farming, and agroforestry techniques are becoming more and more lucrative, and they will become more lucrative in future, because a lot of people will now move towards having good food rather than having just junk, because it doesn't do anything good, just give you diseases and viruses. And then skill development and capacity building. Yeah, so this is a very important sector for government as well as non-governmental organizations and international donors also. So there will be a lot of investment in this, because as we have seen, there was a huge exodus of back migration from the urban to the rural areas when COVID happened. And that was something which really taught us that why the villages in India are insufficient to provide their inhabitants with jobs. That's why they are finding their spaces in urban areas. And the back migration really gave us that exact number, that more than 80% of the rural population lives in urban areas of India. So, if we can develop the skills of these rural inhabitants, and we can give them job within their own villages and make their villages more self-sufficient villages, that would be a model village, a model example of development. So that is going to be a very high investment sector again in future. And definitely, as I was saying, water governance. So like water is a very contended resource. We have already seen last year about the Chennai water crisis. And I myself, I have a very strong relation with water because my dissertation was in water, and I'm looking forward to have a PhD also in water governance. So, it's a very interesting subject for me, and even not having a very scientific background, I kind of try to venture my most till to the scientific end. But I feel there will be a lot of investment in future in water governance. So a lot of organizations are working on groundwater development, groundwater management, surface water management. They will see a lot of investment in the current as well as the future generation. So the essential skills that you need to have a good footholding in this sector is that you must have a strong critical thinking skills, because research is all about having a strong thinking. And then you must have, this is not a must, it's not necessary, but having a geographer's eye is important to have a spatial and a temporal knowledge about the issue that you will be studying or you'll be dealing with. And then again, data analysis, GIS and other tools. Definitely data analysis is everything that in research and in this sector. Nobody would believe you without data. If you just say a statement, you have to back it with the data. So that is very, very much needed by all your potential recruiters. So whenever you get time, there are a lot of online courses as well. There will be a lot of options to learn data analysis in TIS, and like GIS and other tools are already taught to all the geography students in Calcutta University or in any other university. So I feel even you can explore your own time, and there are a lot of online courses. You can do these analysis courses, GIS and these programming courses to understand how to analyze data in your own sweet time to just increase your skills. It just helps you. The more you know, the better it is, right? And also, again, as I said earlier as well, that you must have that passion to work for the cause and not for the outcome. You must see yourself where you want to be 5 years from now, and not just think about how lucrative my job is going to be if I will be paid like 1 lakh per month or something. Money will come, it will be there with you all the time, but you must have the passion to start it in the first place. And again, there has to be a passion for traveling. I love traveling. That was one of the reasons I had taken geography. So, as thrilling it is also very tiresome. So sometimes it gets difficult when you get very difficult terrain like the Himalayas or something to work in the field. And when you have unknown cultures or people who don't understand your language, which happened to me in Hyderabad because my field was in Telugu and I had to hire a translator for my data collection. So the career prospects for future aspirants is that you can see yourself in research, like a research scholar, academician. You can go forward and do a PhD and become a professor in a university. You can join profits, non-profit startups, and do social business as well. You can own your own business. You can start your own NGO. You can start your own startup. And also you can get involved in research, documentation, and policy advocacy. So this is where I see myself currently. I am in research, documentation, and policy advocacy, where I do research, I do documentation, I collect data, I analyze data, being a part of my organization, and then we come out with policy briefs, policy articles, which influences policy in the national and international level. Then you can join international and national organizations, NGO jobs, CSR jobs. You can join UN. You can start with volunteering programs in UN, UNICEF, in any other international organizations. You can become a scientific researcher as well. If you're coming from a scientific background, like if you have zoology, botany, ecology, you can go to you can go forward, do NRG from TIS or do any other environment course from TIS or any other university, and just become a scientific researcher. There is a lot of, far more better options for a scientific researcher than a social science researcher. But then sometimes even I feel that if I would have had a science background, it would have been better for me. because this domain is as scientific as it is. I mean, it sometimes get really difficult for me being a social science person to venture into this, but then you have to have your own belief that this is how you're going to see yourself and this is how you're going to make your own path. Then again, master's, PhD, and further studies. That is, you can do another master's after your master's in environment from abroad, or you can go for a further studies, you can go for PhD. Then you can work for grassroots implementation. That is, you can work with these communities. There are a lot of organizations that make you stay with communities for years, for like 1 year, that will make you stay in villages. So they have these rural immersion programs that will make you stay in villages for years and to understand how village life functions. So there is this organization called Pradhan, which works in rural India. It makes you stay in villages for just 1 year to understand village life and then work as a development professional. And also you can become an independent consultant, which is again, after 2-3 years of your professional career, when you already have a kind of experience in this field, you can become an independent consultant who can just give consultancy ideas for organizations in research. So yeah, coming to my last slide about the salary insights, roles and designation. So for career opportunities in NGOs, mostly the roles and designations are like project assistants, project managers, outreach managers, coordinators, block district managers, because all these NGOs, they work really in the grassroots, they work with the communities, they work in mostly remote places. So the starting salary is also from 2.5 to 5 LPA, which is on an average like 30 to 40,000 per month. Career opportunities in for-profits. So in for-profits, there are more interesting options, because since they are for-profits, so they do not have charity in the first place. So they are doing, and I mean, they know what they're doing, and they get their funds from donors, and they invest their funds as a profit. So there is no, I mean, they have more lucrative options than NGOs. But again, when you're into a for-profit, like maintaining your developmental rigor as a developmental professional becomes difficult, because again, you know, when you're working for a CSR or a for-profit, it becomes more like you're working for a company and you're earning profit out of it. So yeah. Then in government and UN, like I said, in government, there are a lot of opportunities for young professional programs and for volunteering programs in United Nations Developmental Program, UNDP, then UN Water Aid. So, and also there are SRLM, which are the State Rural Livelihood Missions, for which you have to clear an online exam. It's a all India online exam, and then you can get a government young professional job. Career opportunities in CSR, I already spoke about it, like I said. Career opportunities in research, this also I have mostly covered, but here I'll just talk about if you are thinking for a PhD after your master's in environmental development, then in India, since the options for PhD in this sector are quite limited, so the stipend that you get is kind of, it ranges from 25 to 30,000. So that is based on the JNU IISc, just assuming Indian standards. But if you are thinking of a PhD from abroad, then you have to clear an IELTS, and you have to have your own thesis, a proposal, and get it accepted by a supervisor. And then you can land with a PhD and get, have a good infrastructural experience as well, and also have a good experience in the environment domain. Because in like I said earlier as well, that I'll be talking about my Birmingham experience. In Birmingham, the kind of experience that I got in terms of the massive and the brilliant infrastructure was really very, it was like an eye opener for me, because in most of the Indian universities, we do not have those infrastructure. I mean, although we do say we have a lot of scientific, we have a lot of scientific know-hows in India, but still, when I went to Birmingham and when I was in doing the global environmental issues program, it was like a huge eye opener for me, in understanding how research is done. It's entirely evidence-based, it's entirely data-driven, and everything they do, they test in their lab, they do all the data testing on whatever data they collect, and then they come out with the result. So that was, I mean, although it was really difficult for me, but it was a very interesting learning for me as well. So yeah, on that note, I would like to end my presentation, and I'm ready for taking questions if you have any. And I hope you liked this and I didn't scare you a lot, but that's it. That's what I had to say.
Thank you so much, Shreya. I think this was one of the most planned presentation, I would say, in terms of the requirements that all of us were looking forward to the session. But of course, we open questions to the remaining participants. Like anyone who wants to ask a question to Shreya, please feel free to ask. I'm sure there are people who are in their college undergraduate levels wanting to understand the prospects. So Shreya, we have a question from Sriporna inquiring
Yeah,
about
I can see
scope of
that.
working abroad from the course.
Yeah, so like I said that either you can work as a researcher abroad. I mean, if you're doing a PhD, then you can work along with, I mean, when you're doing a PhD, you usually work there as a researcher in that university, okay? So that is why they are giving a stipend for that. So that is a working option abroad. And secondly, I have not seen many such successful cases of people directly joining an international organization abroad after doing a master's from India. I mean, it's not just for environment, but for any sector as such. So for that, you have, I mean, any international organization abroad, they must know you, why you want to join there, and how will you support yourself there, right? So if you want to work abroad, I mean, you have to either start with a master's or a PhD, and then think of working abroad, or else I don't know. I mean, some magic has to happen. Otherwise, so that is all I had to say. I mean, if you have plans to work abroad, then I think you should definitely think of a PhD first, or a master's first, and then otherwise you can keep on applying, uh, and you must have a very strong CV for that. So make sure you have that.
Thank you, Shreya, for your answer. Any other questions, participants? Yes, Rijita.
Hi, Shrujita this side. So I recently got through NRG and I will start my class from the 27th. So I wanted to ask you like I'm also from Loreto, but I am from the pol science background. And I had geography in 11th and 12th, but I don't have like an in-depth knowledge of the subject. So will it be like an issue for me to cope up with the curriculum out there?
No, definitely not. I would say, since you have political science, you said, that would be a very good added advantage for you, because this is a governance course. They will teach you more about policy. They'll teach you more about the environmental laws, environmental jurisprudence. So you will have your own share of advantages. Like being a geography student, I had my own share of advantages. So you will have yours. Like I was weak in policy, but I had to manage that. I had to do a lot of reading for that. So like maybe you have to do a lot of reading on geography to just improve your geography part. But otherwise, they will teach you from the basic foundational courses, and they will teach you everything from scratch. So you don't have to worry about that.
And one more thing, how did you go forward with the Birmingham program? Like, is it available for all, or it's selectively for some students?
No, it was made available for all, but then there is an entrance exam that TIS conducts for that. So I had to sit for that exam, and there will be a telephonic interview from all the TIS campuses. So not just Birmingham, there are a lot of like exchange programs that happens in TIS. So there are a lot of foreign universities who are in collaboration with TIS, like there is Sciences for Paris, there is a lot of Australian universities, a lot of German universities, and recently I think they have started a university from Singapore. So I recently got another, I mean, just right after I had graduated, I got another notification that they're opening another exchange program from a Singaporean university. So it goes on. Like all these notifications will keep on coming from this. You just have to apply on time, and they will shortlist you if you're selected, and they will call you for an interview, for a telephonic interview.
Thank you so much, Steve.
Welcome.
Congratulations, Srijita, and wishing you all the success for your course on NRG. Srijita is from the Catalyst class of 2020. Shomi is asking, right, I think before Shomi, Shreya, I'll take the question of Madhulina. She's asking the difference between MA degree in natural resources and an MSc in natural resources.
Yeah. So like I said, MA degree is focused more on the policy advocacy, on the theoretical knowledge behind natural resource governance. So that is why they have named it a governance course. I mean, it's highly focused on the policy behind environmental degradation and the laws that are international and national laws that address these issues. So you will get to learn a lot about, in MA, you'll get to learn a lot about these theories, these policies, these laws. And then again, you'll have field works which are oriented accordingly. For MSc, you will have MSc in Natural Resources is mostly oriented towards the ecology part of it. I mean, you will have more learnings on the ecology, zoology, botany side of it. You'll have more learning on like how to, what are the scientific ways of addressing these issues, right? So that's the difference. But if you're talking about TIS, MA, MSc degree, so in TIS, the MA degree that I had pursued, that was again focused on policy. And the MSc degree, which is in Tuljapur, which is MSc Natural Resources and Governance and Sustainable Livelihoods, that is again focused on sustainable livelihoods and the ecological, like they again focus more on the ecological aspect. So that's the difference.
Shomi is asking if you can provide names of other universities than TIS who are offering MSc in Environmental Studies.
MSc in Environmental Studies, I'm not sure about MSc in Environmental Studies, but then there is an MSc in Natural Resources and Governance. Yeah, there's an MSc in Natural Resources and Governance from Indraprastha University, which is in Delhi. I think that's also a very interesting course. One of my juniors from Loreto had only joined there.
Right. And I would just like to add on that note too for Shomi is that when you're looking at environmental studies, like environmental studies is offered by TERI University in New Delhi. So TERI, the Energy Resource Institute, they offer a MSc in environment. They offer a, like I think it's an environment and ecology program. They also offer like an MSc in water science and policy, right? So I guess Shreya's course on natural resource had bits and parts of these elements infused into the program. Madhulina again is asking, do we need a strong scientific background in order to pursue MSc in natural resources?
Like it depends a lot on the course that the university is offering. So I feel having a background would be a very big advantage, because even after having a MA degree, I feel that having a background in science would have been better. So because this entire sector of environment and climate change and sustainable development, it is so full of scientists. I mean, if you will be like the only social scientist in this entire domain, and you have to make your own foothold there, which is very difficult. So, I mean, definitely. So, in order to pursue MSc in Natural Resources, having a strong scientific background is it would be a good advantage, but I wouldn't say it's necessary. I mean, if you can manage it on your own way, if you have that coping mechanism, you can definitely do your own, you can find your own strategies to do well, but it would be an advantage.
Shomi has another question, whether she's eligible for MSc in Natural Resource with a BSc Geography background. I believe, of course, she is, right, Shreya? Like, she will be eligible.
Yeah, she is, yeah.
Programs are very multidisciplinary. not only from geography, you get students from all disciplines, like how we saw Srijita from a political science background getting into the natural resource. Uh, Krishti is asking, does this Tuljapur campus also offer this exchange program? So Shreya, would you like to share any
Yeah,
thoughts?
yeah, it does. It's a pan-TIS exchange program. So any exchange program that happens in TIS, they involve all the campuses. So you won't feel left out if you are in Tuljapur or Guwahati. So you can join. In fact, for my interview in the Birmingham summer school, I had a professor who was from TIS Tuljapur, and I had a professor who was from Ecology, Environment, and Sustainable Development TIS Guwahati. So they were all, there was a panel of 5 to 6 people who had taken my interview from for Birmingham exchange program.
Thanks a lot, Shreya. Thank you so much. Any other questions, anyone? If not, then Shreya, I would just like to ask one little question on behalf of all the students. So right now, all of us are apprehensive. We are confused. You know, we're in dilemma of how to. Uh, I would say rather how to utilize the time at hand, right? So if Shreya,
Yeah.
your experience, as you rightly mentioned, the type of skill sets which are required for the sector, and given the present situation where we are still looking ahead towards maybe a vaccine coming out, and then colleges and schools resuming their normal operations, and we restore the situation which was there uh, in pre-COVID times, what would be your
Mm.
advice, Shreya, to these aspiring students, your juniors, of how or what little things they can do right now to say enhance their CV? If you can just, you know, maybe share some tips on that. Thank you.
Yeah, so I feel I was also sharing in one of my slides that most of these applications like Coursera, Udemy, they have a lot of these online courses on data analysis, on GIS, and on research methodologies. I think if you are thinking of venturing into this domain of development, so there is a lot of research possibilities in this domain, and in future there will be chances where you might have to get involved into research of some sort. So it would be very good if you have these skills at hand, and if you now since all of us are at home and we have that time, and these are like 1 month, 3 weeks to 1 month courses, so you can take that time out and just do these courses like 1 hour, 2 hour each day, and you just need a laptop and a running software for that, and most of these softwares are available. They're open source softwares. All these programming language softwares like RStudio and GIS, QGIS, and all. So you can just start learning these in your own sleep time, and just, or maybe just not even a course, just do YouTube and just start learning on your own. These are a very essential skills which every job seeker in this domain wants. Like every organization, they are now looking for data, like professionals who have good knowledge about data analysis. So I think these are very interesting options to explore during this time.
Thank you so much, Shreya. So, you know, on that note, I think we would definitely like to round up the session. Firstly, I would again like to thank every participant to turn up for the session, uh, share your questions with Shreya, and, you know, make this discussion a fruitful, constructive one. One of the major takebacks for me, at least for this session, has been that the coronavirus pandemic, as Shreya very importantly pointed out, along with being, or possibly more than being, say, a health crisis, it is an ecological crisis, and we cannot forget that. And when it comes to the ecological crisis, as Shreya again remarked throughout her slides, there is definitely a growing requirement of consistent intervention into the ecological aspects of our sustenance, right? There is a popular saying, in fact, I was watching uh, or like, you know, reading some articles that we don't need to save the earth, we need to save ourselves. And, you know, the earth has its format of, you know, kind of balancing things off. So I feel that is going to be a very important aspect. We generally when we are students, let me also clarify this, and you can always tell me if I'm wrong. Most of us, in terms of our career decisions, do not usually keep an environment centric career opportunity as our priorities. Okay. And this has been like a tradition which we have noticed for years. But I believe, thankfully, with the increasing awareness, with people like Shreya, who is working in the sector and is willing to share the knowledge that she's acquiring with all of you, we need to make careers centered around environment truly mainstream. We don't find the media, the newspapers, the news channels talking about environment, till there is something very dramatic and adverse happening that is impacting most of our lives, right? Even now, when we look at the pandemic, the coverage in the press, the coverage in the media, it is more about the health issue, the governance issue, the political issue, the hospital issue. We do realize that that is important because those are the immediate requirements as a result of the ecological crisis, which we should all be very clear about, right? So, uh, I'm sure, Shreya, like with your work, uh, you would love to see more and more people talking more on this, right? Spreading awareness, just not for the sake of spreading it, but definitely triggering the uh, triggering the interest to make choices more wisely, right? Uh, we always find that school syllabus, curriculum, even in college syllabus, our book on environmental studies is usually given the lowest priority. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Like EVS is a compulsory subject in a lot
Yes.
of our universities.
Most of the universities, they don't accept it as.
They exactly. Firstly, they do not accept it when you're applying. You also realize that it is just that quote unquote pass subject where you have to score a pass,
Yeah.
right? The unfortunately, with due respect, our schooling system, our college system, our trainers, mentors, they also present EVS as a subject which you just need to clear some way or the other, right? And and we feel that these are certain shifts in priorities which we can plan, and that can in turn create a very strong rippling effect to solidify our systems. Because like Shreya, we need many such professionals. As she mentioned, the investments which are coming up, we need people to focus on these areas, to not choose the course because they did not get through something else, but to prioritize it as an important intervention mainstream. Shreya, would you like to add any points on that to close the session?
Yeah, no, that's you just put it very nicely. That was like one of the key takeaways from me also from this and from my professional journey in FES in Rajasthan. That when I had joined, even I had a different mindset. That how even I was questioning myself all the time how lucrative it is going to be, if I will ever make a good career out of it, if I can ever earn money out of it. But then now, since I'm already starting to see the larger cause, that what I'm working for is not, it cannot be equated with the money that I earn. And I mean, it's more like for me, that cause is greater than what I earn. So I feel, I mean, everybody should have that mindset that when you're working for a cause, you should work for the cause and not the outcome. And this is one of the greatest cause for humanity that one can work for. I mean, restoring your nature. And there is no other great cause that one can think of. And I think one of the biggest crisis will be in the coming generations will be centering around resources, be it environment, be it air, water, anything, or just the global climate. So, I mean, this is a high time we should all wake up and start realizing it as a priority rather than as a voluntary decision.
Thank you so much, Shreya. I think this has been a really motivating and inspiring session for all of us. We wish you all the best, all the success. Work more, like think more, like you're doing, and we would love to see participants in the session also think alike. Improvise on what Shreya shared with us, and do stay in touch with us. Very importantly, because what we will be doing very soon is there will be a feedback form shared with all of you. Of course, you are most welcome to connect with Shreya with her details that she has shared on the screen right now. But there would be like a specific feedback form that would be shared over an email with all the participants in the session, so that if you have more queries, concerns, even ideas, you're most welcome to share that with us, so that we'll try to put that through Shreya and maybe support you back as much as possible. So on that note, from all of us in Catalyst, thank you so much. Thanks a lot, Shreya, for your time, for for
Thank you,
sharing your
sir.
work, for sharing your great positive vibe, your energy, the motivation that you transmitted amongst all of us. Thank you, participants, for your questions. Stay well, stay safe. Your future literally lies in your hands. So keep washing it, right? Do not ever stop thinking, never stop believing yourself, and definitely uh, be connected with human beings. Network more you network, you increase your net worth, share ideas, increase what we call social capital amongst all of us. Thank you so much. Have a great time ahead. All the best. Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you.